I never put two and two together in terms of that was something that I wanted to do in my future, but I did know that I liked helping students.
Hi, Bearcats. Welcome to the next episode of the Bonita Interview series. I'm Natalie, and this week I had the pleasure of interviewing Ms. Tilford, the CTE counselor, and her history of being a Bonita student and now being staff. Let's get started. Thank you for being with us. So you went to Bonita. What was Bonita like when you went here?
I remember Bonita the same way that it is today. I remember it being a campus that was very welcoming to all students, staff members that cared about the well-being of students, those that encouraged and motivated students, but also a place that required me to put in work, and nothing came easy. So I certainly spent hours doing work. I was not the top student in my class, but I felt as though with the amount of support that we had on campus and that we continue to have, it continues to be the same Bonita way.
What type of classes or activities were you involved in when you went here?
Going back a little and why my position as a counselor is so important to me. When I was on campus 20-something years ago, I wasn't involved in much. I didn't take advantage of the opportunities of connecting with other students. My main mission was to get to school so I can get out of school. And because I didn't develop those key, relationships with students on campus, and outside of my friend group, I wasn't very well connected with what was happening on campus. And I think I suffered as a result of that. I didn't know what was necessarily happening or what was going on, and the importance of really saying that, school is a time in your life when you're a teenager where you have no responsibilities outside of school. And I did not take advantage of that. So I wish that I would have. I wish that I would have taken classes that challenged me a bit more, to really dive in a little bit deeper to figure out where my interests were. I took a class here at Bonita called Peer Counseling. I think it is back now.
Yeah.
And I knew that was something that I enjoyed doing. I never put two and two together in terms of that was something that I wanted to do in my future, but I did know that I liked helping students. So that was a program on campus that I really resonated with because I enjoyed helping others. Little did I know that, in 10 years after that I would be a counselor. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think what you do here is very special, helping students find pathways and everything.
Thank you.
And so do you think that if you went here now, would you have a similar high school experience?
I would have taken advantage of what I mentioned I didn't take advantage of before, and really tapped into where my strengths were, to see what was a fit for me or not. And that's really why I'm passionate about helping students, because I think as long as we can get students connected earlier, it will allow for their path to be a little bit more clear after they've had some exposure to various pieces. So I think if my position was here, when I was here, I think I would have done a little bit more. And again, a driving force why I do this position. So the district saw a need for a position like this. And so because they did note that this was important for students to take advantage of, that's why I'm here today. So I think if I knew about resources like this or this type of program was available to me, I most definitely would have taken advantage or been forced by my parents to take advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I get that. So now on like a little bit of a less deep level, like looking at the campus, does anything different stands out compared to when you went here, or anything the same that maybe when you walk past, like you remember sitting there too or something when you went here?
Yeah. When I walk past different areas that my friend group used to sit in, I, of course can't help but reflect back to when I was here. We did not have the new gym when I was here, so we only had the old gym that we call it. The new gym was built several years after I graduated, so that was always, I remember after graduation driving by Bonita once it was built, and oh my gosh, it looks so amazing to see this huge building. But everything else really looks the same. It's the same campus, very familiar and very comfortable for me to be in.
Very. What do you think the biggest change you've seen over Bonita over the years?
I don't know that it's necessarily a change. It's more of just what I've been paying attention to. Oh, yeah. I think Bonita has always been a place that, as I mentioned, is very welcoming, that is very supportive, that has staff and students that are all very friendly. I think just because I didn't take advantage of it early on when I was in high school doesn't mean it didn't exist. I just didn't really take the time to see what was available to me. So the campus itself, I think, remains the same. The mission of BHS, the values, and the people are all just as great. It's just now what I'm focused on and what I'm paying attention to that's different for me.
Did you always plan to come back to Bonita? Or I know you mentioned that you didn't, in high school, you didn't think you'd go into peer counseling, even though you enjoyed it then. So then when did that plan kind of come into play?
Yeah. So growing up in Laverne, you know, I couldn't wait to get the heck out of Laverne. You know, it was nothing to do. It was just a bunch of families, and you know, we had the movie theater, we had Chili's, and that was really all that we had here. And so, you know, my biggest piece was, oh my gosh, I can't wait to leave Laverne and, you know, go move to a big city and live somewhere else. And I did. I left and went far, far away, not really, to Los Angeles, and went to USC. And after USC, I went into a career field that really wasn't a fit for me. I went into medical sales, doing it just for the purpose of money. I went into it just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to make so much money in this career field. This is what I should be doing. And look at the lifestyle that I could potentially have from doing this. So I did that for about a year and realized it was not for me. And so I kind of went back to the drawing board of what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing that I can see myself continuing to do in my future? And that's when I had the thought of the peer counseling program that I was involved in at Bonita. And so I said, you know, what about doing some counseling? What about going back to the schools and working? And when I remembered or heard that school counselors work 9 months a year, you know, you have a teacher's schedule, you get to work with students one-on-one, you don't have to do a class of 30 plus students. It all seemed really appealing to me. So I went back to grad school at APU. And while I was at APU, I got an internship at a high school in South Los Angeles. So I was working at a high school for about 5 years as a counselor once I graduated. It was an amazing experience. It was with all first-generation college-bound students. So they're all first in their family to go off to college. I got a lot of experience and got married and was expecting my first child at that time. But during that time, we were living in a loft, my husband and I, in downtown LA. And I was like, you know, I don't think that downtown LA is suitable for a baby. We were, you know, it was great for a young couple that we, you know, had nightlife and fun in the city, but not where I wanted to raise my family. So, Laverne always had a piece of my heart, and I always tell people that the same reason why I left Laverne was the exact same reason why I came back. Because there wasn't a whole lot going on. There was a bunch of families. It was a tight-knit community. And so my family is still here. My parents are still here. And so I said, I want to come back to this community, this area. Bonita was hiring a part-time counselor at that time. And so I, you know, applied. I applied to a few different school districts out in this area. And Bonita called me. I had an interview with the principal that I actually had as a high school student. So,
full circle.
Mr. Ketterling was my high school principal. I interviewed with him, and I got the job. So I started here as a part-time counselor, and I think by the next couple years, I got a full-time position, and I've been here ever since. So not necessarily a direct line. Like I knew I wanted to be back at Bonita, but the, I guess, events in my life drew me back here. So I couldn't be happier. I love this district. It's been great for me and my family, and being close to home with where my parents are. I'm happy to be back.
And I think that's great that Bonita is what showed you the passion that you ended up going into later.
Yeah.
Full circle moment.
It really is.
Yeah. And so then to finish us off, what do you think your favorite part of Bonita has been? I know you mentioned like the tight-knit community and how great all the teachers and staff are, but if there's one thing, even if it's like something fun, whatever, like what's your favorite part?
The students. I think that working as an adult or as a provider to our students, someone that is serving our students, and seeing myself in all of you, knowing that if I would have had someone like me in high school, it would have made such a huge impact on my path. And so I always keep the high school version of me who I see on campus every day to make that a motivator to, find the opportunities that I do to connect students, to allow them to kind of get one little piece of maybe, motivation that, hey, I've learned in high school that not only am I good in science or math, or not good in science or math, but I know that the next step for me is intentional, because I've learned that this is a career path or opportunity that I want to go into. So, the students are definitely what keep me here. It's obviously a great place to be. Staff is very supportive. We all work together to support our students, but definitely the students are what drives me each day.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for everything you're doing here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed getting to know Miss Tilford better and her history at Bonita. Stay curious, Bearcats, and join us next week for another interview. See you then.